So are we on? Are we on? Hold up. I think it's on. I think. I'm not sure, but I think. Okay, so whether it is or it isn't, I guess we're going. So let's do this thing. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Hello, silly people, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Trey, and today it is the first of my true attempts at live streaming. So, my name is Trey, and today we're going to do something. I'm trying to figure out this whole system of live streaming. So for myself, I need a format that I can work with, that I can go to. And so I think this is going to be the setup. I got the Clip Studio Paint open, and what we're going to do for the first episode is try to give for the first few episodes, I guess, is give a rundown on what we're trying or attempting to do, and then how it's going to go, pretty much. So I'm probably going to start with keep this format for the foreseeable. I might change it to art stream or something. But this is the first episode, and the first episode, I guess we should first talk about the ambient sounds. Like I live near a street, and if there's that crazed motorcycle gang that drives past, even at this late hour, I guess that is the thing. I will try to mute my mic if such things happen, but there will be some ambient noise. This first one is going to be about the Wolverine, and I will try to lay out what's going to happen in the live stream with these notes. So I have some notes on the side, and one is the episode format, which I'm going over right now. And so if you ever want to know what's going on or what's about to happen, it's going to be in this area. First, I'll have this notes in the beginning, and then we'll switch to having each individual section have its each individual thing. So the first part will be the episode info, what's going to happen. I think that should be probably, I'm going to try to keep it to 15, no more than 10, 15 minutes to get into it. And then we'll get into the meat and potatoes, hopefully, with the topic. The topic is going to be around at here, at the bottom right, bottom screen right. And then to end, we'll end with the outro. Wrap up. I'm probably going to do this about an hour whenever I do live stream. And then usually hopefully around the 10:15 area. And then at 11, cut it. And then I got to get ready for work the next day. So usually try to keep it about an hour. And so that is pretty much how the format is going to work. So we've gotten the format out of the way, and now let's talk about the topic, which is Wolverine. Wolverine is the topic, and for myself, I have always been an X-Men fan. Love them. One of my favorite comics, I think one of the best comics ever, is of the X-Men. And so because there is going to be a Wolverine video game, right? When I saw this was going to happen, I was so excited for it. I don't usually buy games at launch because I'm usually too busy, but this one I'm making time for. So I'm going to do some sort of art for it. And what I want to do This is I love this image right here. Whoever the artist is of this, well done, sir. Well done. I have a smaller one just to, but I have an old folder of my old art. This is from about 2006, maybe 5, 6. 2005, 6. I did some of this for when I was in college. Now, I started reading comics around the time I was maybe 12, 13. And I think, do I have the example? Yeah. This right here was, I think, the first 1 and 2 of the comics I first bought. I think, yeah, 258. I think this was the very first comic I bought at was it a Walden? It's a bookstore that doesn't even exist anymore. On the rack, my brother was buying books, and I saw this image and was like, what is that about? I had always loved to draw, so I picked it up. It was Jim Lee and Williamson on the art and inks, and I loved it. Fantastic. And then I just started picking up more whenever I could, and then finally I started going to comic shops in my teen years and just reading everything X-Men related. But in college, and I've always been drawing, whether video games or anime or animation like Disney style, I've always been drawing. But then I started doing this in college. Just when they say fill up a sketchbook, I draw whatever came to mind, whether it was manga, animation, comic books. Those are the things I just rotated through. And so this is like 2006, 4, 5, 6, 7 year. And today I'd like to start on making some kind of more proper illustration or image and get that out before the game comes out, which is, I think, September or something. 15, something like that. So that is what I'm going to be, that's what I want to accomplish with this. So, first up, much like my other process, tests, I start with a list of things about the character. Wolverine, also known as Logan. And I just write down notes of what I think the character embodies. So the hair is iconic, of course. He's an X-Men and a mutant. Well, mutant, X-Men. He's a loner. Well, he used to be a loner, but then once he joins the team, he becomes, part of the group. He's more known for the outdoors. So snow, trees, Canadian landscapes, and picturesque stuff. He has adamantium fused to his bones. And he has bone claws, and so when the adamantium covered all his bones, it also covered his bone claws. So he has metal bones. That makes him heavier, but also means that he can take a beating without breaking. Now, of course, brain trauma and all that, but with a super healing factor. And let's write that in there because I forgot about that. Why did I not write that? So he has a healing factor. So healing factor. So he can take a beating. He has 3 claws. He's a really good fighter. And he has a long life because of his healing factor. So he had a lot of adventures, like secret agent stuff, being a fighter for different governments and whatnot, various wars and conflicts. So, did I write old? Let's write old. So he's very old with that healing factor, keeping him well preserved and in fighting shape. He has a rage, so like a berserker rage, and he's pretty much a loner wild. He has a wild side, but also a human balanced side. So human. And he's a gruff softy. And he's trained various people during his tenure with, well, actually just as a person, I guess. I mean, usually they're women. So what comes to mind? Kitty Pryde, Jubilee, and stuff like that. He has a clone, X-23, who was the new Wolverine, who was from the animated series that was folded into the comic continuity. But that's, and that was in the movie. But yeah, I usually start with notes, and then I try to find reference. So let's see. I have this reference folder of various artists that have done Wolverine over the years. I like a lot of takes on Wolverine. Some of my favorites are, of course, Jim Lee. There's a couple Jim Lee. There's a Sean Gordon Murphy's. I think this one and these three, I think. And I think the rest Jim Lee. But yeah, there's been a lot of John Byrne. I like his. Arthur Adams. I like their renditions of Wolverine, but these are some of my favorites. I like this one. That's really nice. So I have some reference about what we could do for the character. And then once I have the reference, I usually start drawing. But today, I'm thinking of doing this one for today. He has his samurai because he's been around the world, well traveled. But I think I'm gonna draw some of these small gestures again, because often I make the gestures. So let's take this one. And take it down a bit. And where's that other one? Yep. Okay. Let's make this. Let's start with this one. And so when I do some gestures, I just do them very, let's use a G pen. G pen, make this visible. Oh yes. One thing I do also want to note, in this illustration process, I always have a process. And my process is, I usually start with a very rough image. It's like a step above stick figures, and then I polish that. So then I make a better, well, this is what I would call a rough sketch. Then a sketch, and then trying to get to tighter pencils. But since I usually ink my own stuff and I color my own stuff, I don't have to send it off to somebody else. I can use a shorthand for myself, so I can be fairly loose. Like if you're gonna take it, send it to somebody else who's going to maybe ink it or color it. Sometimes you want some indication or a better defined character so that they can understand quickly what you need or what you want from the image. But for me myself, this is pretty much my standard. Rough, well, super rough sketch, and then maybe a tighter pencil version. And then I move on to cleaner inks and colors and whatnot. And what that looks like in professional terms. All right, so this is Pepe Larraz and Marte Garcia, Gracias. Pepe Larraz and Gracias. And they're really good. They did the most recent House of X, which was fantastic. It was what brought me back to X-Men comics, reading the comics again. But this is what a final image would look like. And this is what I would like to try to get to. Fully inked and put some colors. I think we're going to do it in watercolor. But we'd start with a rough sketch going through the process to like a sketch version. From that sketch version, you clean up that sketch. From that cleaner sketch, put some rough colors, usually digital, and then I'll take it to watercolor and then do the watercolor version. So that is the steps that I plan to take. So back to okay. Oh yes, I wrote down some ideas about Wolverine before I started. So okay, let's do some gestures. Some gestures. Hold on. And take a look. Maybe there's nothing on this one. So we're going to G-pen on the layer I want. Yes. And then we're just going to take some. And my thoughts on drawing are always start it like you're drunk. Just get your ideas out. Right? It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't even have to look good. You just want to get your idea out of your head onto paper. So this is the basic. Right? Right, we're not going for pretty. We're going for communicating what we want. And then we'll try to pretty it up. But in the beginning, 3 claws. So he's like getting enraged before he does the smackdown. Right, and that's this image. Although this image is better because he's got his legs spaced out a little bit more. Yeah. So yeah, just begin however you can. Let's put that in the corner. And what other poses would I like? Of course, there's the coming towards you. Arms back, claws out. Maybe one leg, other leg back. All right, And this is what I mean. I just get your ideas out. I just draw like I'm drunk. Quick and dirty. Doesn't need to be pretty. This one's also, let's draw that one. Because usually your beginning steps, most people won't see. It's just you and the paper. And this time, let's do this. We can always clean it up later. And we can have this leg for this arm forward and this arm back. Anything else good on this page? I like this one. And that one is I always try to do opposites, right? If this arm is bent, I like this leg to be straighter. Just for some added dynamism. This arm. But what would be... Let's see, what else can we think of? Let's just think of some classic poses. Right, there's the standing, like low to the ground. It's coming out. Maybe one leg is on a rock or something. And the other leg is... What else? Let's see what's on the other one. Oh. I'll explain that a little bit later. Okay, so let's see. Bring this back and move that over. K to move. Let's do some more. I have some pretty good ones on this one. Although this is a bit too much. But let's give it a shot. So it's like, what even is this? And sometimes you get new idea. Well, whenever I draw, sometimes an idea will lead to another idea, which leads to another idea. And sometimes you discover why you do and don't like certain things, like certain poses. And I think I know why I don't like this one. Because it's too composed, I think, for for Wolverine. Right? He doesn't. As a bare knuckle brawler, who does this? Right? Maybe that's just a bit. He seems like he would be rushing a person first. Like to try to take him out. So it's all about characterization. How does the character work? Like, what do they do? And then you can figure out more and more. Like, Captain America is different from Wolverine. Captain America would have different gestures, right? The stars and stripes, standing proud. That type of fighter would be different than a Wolverine type fighter. I like this one. Let's try that. Okay. But yeah. And I can do this pretty much all night. And we don't have that kind of time. But I do think I'm going to try to I guess for this, I think September will be the deadline. We unveil the final thingy. So, because of that, when is September? 6 months? 6 months away? Yeah, I have this problem with drawing and talking at the same time. I forget to do one when I'm doing the other. So yeah, if September is the date, there are certain milestones that I did think about. I have no idea what those timelines are, but we'll figure it out. I guess in general, from basic sketch to a more refined sketch. Let's do this one. This also, I'm not exactly sold on it. Rough sketch, hopefully by this month. May? maybe would be the, I don't know, maybe tighter, let's say loose sketch, or just get the idea. And once I have maybe 3 ideas, then rough sketch. Let's get that out away from the body. I try to keep clean silhouettes so that it's easy to read for myself and for the audience. So I try to keep things from crossing over into the body. That's just me. Erase. What was I saying? Yeah, so get the idea, and I'd like 3 ideas. And then from there, select one, maybe in May, and build on that to get a rough sketch for June. Maybe June start, late June, July start the watercolors. Maybe I'd like them to be doing something. Maybe, right, I always start to think about the frame. If the frame is like this, what would be in the frame? If Wolverine can take up the whole thing, right. It could be a full body shot, 3/4 body, depending on how it's structured. I could also do an element of something else. Like I thought about having in the foreground something like the forearm and claws of Sabretooth. Or even the Hulk, that would work also. Because the green, but something in the foreground, and in the background, good old Wolverine. Either getting ready to fight, right? Something like that. And you can have, if they're on different layers, I can manipulate either one to get the exact composition. I'll hold on to that. I like that. But you could also just do a classic just Wolverine standing. But then it kind of starts to feel like Batman. Batman has a lot of standing, right? It's the what would you call them, wings of the costume that always makes me think of, in silhouette, Batman, Wolverine. But Batman often has this standing thing that they do, where he's either on a tower, a tall building, a gargoyle, something. Well, I think of Wolverine as more. I think this might be a Jim Lee cover or something. There's probably a lot of. Anywho. Right? And it just doesn't capture the character. Again, it's like that Captain America thing. You have to think about the character and the characterization. What makes the character the character? And how can you, whether implied or specifically drawn out, see that, notice that? So maybe always a little bit hunched over. Maybe in snow or something. You never know. He might be on the hunt or something. But for Wolverine, of course, you can just sometimes just do the forearm and then that. Right. This could be the foreground and maybe Sabretooth in the background. And he was fighting somebody. And he has them pinned. Maybe Nightcrawler or something. Alright, that would also work as a. Anyway, so this is just chicken scratch. Oh man, now it's going quick. Let's see if we can get a couple more out. Let's see. I always do like the classic jumping. All right, let's. Jumping punch, claw punch. And also it helps to have something that he's going against. Like say if you had, I don't know, the Hulk. And the Hulk is just or something like that. Hulk or a giant or whatever big robots. The Sentinel is always a classic. Slashing a giant robot. They do that in a lot of shows because, there's no blood coming from robots. So yeah. Oh, this could also be like a. Trying to think of composition where you have Wolverine mostly, and then a bit of what he's. The cool part about the Hulk is that you just have green, and you pretty much know what it is that he's cutting up. What else? How about a very low to the ground? That's kind of super low. Alright, that's not bad though. But as an illustration, I'm not sure that quite works. There's a lot of things that I have to think about when it comes to, framing and what makes the most sense and making it look cool in my mind, right? That's it. You want to have it fun for yourself, the artist, because you usually spend the most time with it. The audience can glance at it and go, not bad. In like 2 seconds. What took you months to create. Right. But yeah, this is gonna be fun. I can already feel it. This is gonna be fun. I get to go back to my childhood for a moment. Okay, I guess what? Gotta call it quits. Okay, so this was the first live stream of what I hope to be. I don't know when I'm gonna do the next one. It's not going to be like this. I'm not going to do Wolverines every day, every time. I figure maybe once a month or something like that, maybe. So maybe at the end of May, we'll do a check-in on Wolverine, and then I'll give you an update about where we're gonna go. Hopefully, I should have the rough sketch. So let's get back to. So this is now the outro section. All right. Yeah. Did the episode format, Wolverine, outro. Okay, so for the outro, I guess for the next live streams, I'm still trying to figure out, does this work? How can I make it work? And all the logistics of it. So I don't know. I'll probably be a little bit erratic until I get a flow or system, even if I don't even know if I'm doing this right. So once I get that, I figure we'll do more just drawing, just sketching, cool down after a long day. If you want to break out your own pens, pencils, your own programs, and maybe have me in that corner as a small little box, and we'll just work out, draw for a little bit for an hour, and then get some good drawings time in, and then go on with your day. I think that's how we're gonna try it. And I'm not sure what the title is. We could do live stream. I thought about calling it Gomi, which is Japanese for trash. And pretty much that's what I think of when I'm just sketching. It's like it's not supposed to be seen. It's like your sketchbook time. It's just whatever you can unload from your mind. Maybe practice some things, whether folds, muscles, anatomy, skeletal structures, individual things like what do pants look like? What do certain types of material like leather look like? Studying different stuff. But whatever it is, like just draw. I think that's pretty much what we're going to do. Is that it? I think that's it. So thank you for joining me. I have been Trey Hodges. You can find my work at treyhodges.com. Power to all the creators. Keep creating. And I will see you in the next live stream. Even though I don't know when that is. Also, I need to save this before I... Okay. So I'll see you next time. Take care. Keep shining. Bye bye.